The Pakistani military orchestrated the onslaught. The ISI chief landed in Kabul to oversee operations. They have dropped all pretense. Pakistan has used the Taliban to invade Afghanistan and rule by proxy. And the world is not just a mute spectator. It is ready to pay Pakistan to manage the Afghan crisis. It's so bizarre and incredible. It makes you wonder what kind of men and women are running the world as leaders. They're complicit in the Afghan tragedy. They remain silent on Pakistan's role. Well, here's a fact. The Taliban were in no position to enter Panjshir. They had been outflanked by the Northern Alliance. Pakistan's support changed that. And the support was as open as it gets. On Saturday, the ISI chief landed in Kabul. Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, the chief of Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence or ISI. What was he in Kabul for? Apparently to settle disputes in the Taliban. The Rehbari Shura was divided on government formation, so the quote-unquote Rawalpindi Shura had to intervene. The Pakistani military is dictating government formation in Kabul. When the ISI chief reached Kabul, he was asked about the purpose of the visit. Here's what he said.
People in the Taliban?
I'm not clear. He may be able to arrange.
What do you hope will come out of this? What do you hope is going to happen now in Afghanistan? What is your best
I
hope?
have just landed and we are working for peace and stability in Afghanistan. Don't worry. Everything will be okay.
Peace and stability in Afghanistan. That's rich coming from the chief of a rogue intel agency. A top Pakistani security official quoted by news agency Reuters told a different story altogether. He said the ISI chief was in Afghanistan to help the Taliban reorganize the Afghan military. And it doesn't take a genius to know what the aim of this reorganization was: to lay siege on Panjshir. On Sunday afternoon, the Taliban's onslaught began. All accounts from Panjshir indicate that this was an ISI-led assault, that the Pakistani Air Force used drones to drop bombs on Panjshir, with troops from Pakistan's Special Service Group assisting the Taliban on ground. All of this happened under the command of ISI chief Faiz Hamid. And this is not hearsay. This has been verified by journalists and resistance fighters in Panjshir. Let me show you one account posted by a French journalist. This was from Sunday evening. He said there's credible information to state that Pakistan's commandos are in Panjshir with Pakistan's Cobra helicopters operating in the air. What were they doing there? The next post was from an Afghan commando fighting in the Panjshir Valley. He said, and I'm quoting, "I've got a few seconds of satellite internet. We are being bombed by Pakistani drones. We are under direct invasion of ISI. Spread our word. Our civilians are under target. This could be my last tweet forever if you don't hear from me in some days." And this was 24 hours back, and we haven't heard from him since then. Could this be a coincidence? That on Saturday, the ISI chief lands in Kabul, and the next day, the Taliban enters Panjshir. This is no coincidence. This is an open military intervention by Pakistan, an invasion. And it should weigh heavily on the conscience of world leaders, if they have any left. Thousands of Afghans are being bombarded endlessly by the Taliban and its conjoined twin Pakistan. Not just those fighting on the front lines, but the 150,000 people who call Panjshir home, they're all under threat. Their lives are about to get upended. They're about to lose their liberties and their way of life. But Western leaders could not care less. Their ministers are making a beeline for Pakistan. They're planting saplings in Islamabad and pledging millions in aid to the Pakistani government. This includes the foreign ministers of Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and the UK. All four of them visited Islamabad last week. They promised to protect the quote-unquote right to dignity of Afghans. Will they speak up for Panjshir too? Will they call out Pakistan for invading Afghanistan to rule by proxy? Will they probe Pakistan for Panjshir? They won't.